Good morning everybody. Sweden have asked me to come on today to talk to you about my experience of self-employment. I run a company called Complete Kidz, and I'm going to talk you through my experiences and how it's been for me for running a business that in October is going to be 5 years old. I want to start my presentation with this statement from Harriet Tubman, because throughout my career I've always followed this, and I just want you to read it. I'm not going to read it to you, but for me, I've always had aspirations. I come from a family in Smethwick, a very large family in Smethwick, first person in the family to go to university. I qualified as a teacher and I taught PE for 10 years in Sandwell and Birmingham. So if you're probably sitting here now wondering why are you here running your own business, I'm going to talk to you a bit about Complete Kidz, and then I'm going to tell you why I'm running my own business and share my experience of what happened and what's brought me here today. First of all, Complete Kidz was set up in 2007, October 2007, and set up on the premise that we would run or offer innovative sports or coaching activities to children and young people. I was a sole trader, then became a partnership because I needed some financial support with my sister, so my sister came on board. We became a limited company in October 2008, and as of last year became a community interest company. To bring you to why I'm here today and what brought me here and why I left teaching. Everybody has experiences of school, everybody has experiences of PE lessons, and can probably remember whether they loved PE or they hated PE at school. Unfortunately for me, in my last year of teaching, I taught at a school that was in a very disadvantaged area of Birmingham, and I became one of those statistics of teachers who was accused of assaulting a pupil. A very distressing time. I was arrested, thrown in police cells, and treated like a criminal and on bail. Not allowed to go on any school premises, not allowed to go and pick my nephew up from school. And for 6 weeks, the police did their investigations on what was a false allegation. Within 6 weeks, the police cleared me. But schools, being organisations that they are, have to follow through their orders of disciplinary actions and investigations. That took a total of 18 months, to which they delved completely into my personal life and deemed me as being unfit to work with children, because I'm gay. So from that point of view then, I took on an employment tribunal with them, and in October of 2008 I had a phone call from my solicitor to say they want to settle out the court, they're offering you half a year's salary. I'd had enough of teaching by then, didn't want to go back into teaching, and thought, well, what am I going to do? So I decided that I would set up the company. So in order to set the company up, I'd got the money that they'd given me, which I needed to live on, and I used to set up the company. I was fortunate to find Sweden on the internet. I did an internet search because I know nothing about business. I've been a teacher from the age of 13. I wanted to teach, so I knew how to teach school, but I knew nothing about running a business. We had help from the Black Country Enterprise Loan Fund. We've had help from the Black Country Reinvestment Society. I've had help from Sandwell Council via funding and grants, the bank, and now we're applying for grant funding. Going back to now about being my own boss and running a business, it's been very challenging, but I wouldn't go back to what brought me here in the first place. I think things happen in life for a reason, and they obviously happen for a reason. I'm happier now. Yes, there are times when I don't get paid, but I'm out there and I'm delivering a key message to schools in Sandwell, schools in Birmingham, and to young people in an area of Sandwell that is very disadvantaged, and we have a high rate of children that are obese, high rate of adults that are unhealthy, and we are a bit of a ticking time bomb. So for me it's been very challenging, and it's taught me a lot about the local area that I was brought up in. I'm the key decision maker, so if the decision has got to be made, it's me. I haven't got to go to a head teacher, I haven't got to go to a head of department, I make the decisions. Yes, they might work, no they might not, but I'm the one who's doing that. My job role. When I taught, we were told that as a teacher we got hundreds of job roles because we were a parent, we were confident, we taught them, we helped them with food, we helped them with problems at home. It hasn't really changed, because I'm the managing director. I have to become an accountant some days. Some days I have to go out and deliver the sports sessions. And my philosophy is I don't expect any of my staff to go out and do anything that I haven't done. So it's about being a team player. It's not always smooth running your own business. There are peaks, there are troughs. But for me, it's been about that freedom and about being able to go out there and put a message across and being my own person. Yes, I'm a very determined person, and I feel that with what I've been through, I have to be very determined, and I'm quite happy to share that with people, because I think it lets you realise that a lot of the times when you become self-employed, or you choose to become self-employed, it's because something has happened in your life, or it's because you want to do something to change. I've had a lot of family support. If it hadn't been for family and my partner, I wouldn't be where I am today. I rely on my cousin, who is retired, to do credit control, because that was her job when she was working. My dad, who's 73, comes to the unit every day and works on the equipment, and it keeps him active. Given my brother a job in the company now as a sales director, but then I've got the coaches that go out. For me, the thing that's been biggest has been the network of support that I've received. And there are a lot of people out there that can give you support. There's Business Link, there's Sweden, and you meet lots of people at different events, and then they become your support network. And for me, teaching is a 24/7 job, and I know, people harp on about teaching, that they only work for 39 weeks of the year. It's not that sort of job. But running your own business is very similar to that. But the one reason for me wanting to work 24/7 is because I know the outcomes at the end of the day are for me, and I'm making a change and making a difference to people. The future for us, Complete Kidz was born as I said 2007. Last year we became a community interest company because we soon realised that we're not making a profit from it, and that was never really my aim. So we've got that now as a community interest company, so we do everything for the community. We've got the complete events side of the company, which is now private, which is where we do the birthday parties and corporate events. We've recently got another arm that's come off Complete Kidz called Kids Zone, where we do after school clubs and holiday clubs. I'm in the process of setting up another company with a colleague called AIM, where we're going to be offering mentoring to NEETs. We've just moved into new premises. It wasn't the ideal time to be moving, and probably financially it wasn't the ideal time, but we've been burgled in our previous premises 3 times, so we had to move, and we're now looking for funding. But if I look back over the 5 years to think that I'm standing here today talking to you guys, 5 years ago, I was one of you sitting there and thinking, wow, what am I going to do? I set myself a target that I'm 37 now, and by the age of 40 I've got a bit of a dream. Not that I want to be a millionaire, but I want to own a fast car. When I was teaching, I was fortunate to have an MG or an Audi TT, and I was on £39,500 a year. I'm probably not even on £10,000 a year at the moment. I'm driving around in an old banger of a Megane. But I've still got that dream that by the age of 40, I'd like to be able to drive a Porsche or own a Porsche. Right, has anybody got any questions for me? Because I have got to shoot off after this, because I've got to go back and sort some stuff out. But I have left business cards and I have left brochures. I do want to say thank you to Davinda at Sweden, because without Sweden, I wouldn't be here today.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Fabulous idea that you've got, and I hope that you get your Porsche. Actually, I recommend a Ferrari.
Well,
Where are you looking for funding?
Where am I looking for funding? We're looking all over the place, to be fair. We go to the council for their various commissioning streams. We've applied recently to Children in Need, and we're in the final round of that Fair Play scheme. I've recently applied to Sport Relief for their Sport for Change programme. There's Black Country Consortium that offers Sportive Aid funding, where we do sport activities for 14 to 25 year olds, so we're applying there. I'm constantly filling in funding applications and applying for funding. That, my job role has really changed. I've gone from being the person who was out there with the van on the road doing the activities to the person that sits in the office now and writes the funding bids and runs the business. But that happened because I had to have an operation 2 years ago on my ankle, so I haven't been able to coach sport. But I still maintain my contact with the children through the health days and the activities that we do. But if anybody else has got any ideas on funding, welcome to ideas. Sorry, yeah? We've got an awards for all bidding at the moment, and we're currently putting a big lottery funding in as well. And we write awards for all bids for schools as well, and so that secures us work within the schools.
What about independent schools?
Yeah, we've done some work with independent schools in Birmingham. Schools are very savvy in that they say they've got no money. when they have schools sometimes, if people want to go and work in schools, you'll find that schools sometimes dictate to you how much they actually want to spend. You know, so they'll say to you, oh, £35, well, we'll pay you 25. And yeah, so, okay, it might only be £10, but when you work that out in percentage terms, that's quite a drop in your margins. But we work with that. Anybody else have any questions?
I just wanted to know a bit more about the business process. Quite long.
It depends.
Tips for us to try and be successful in that area.
The bidding process, I am a member of Sandwell Council for Voluntary Organisations, and they send out a funding digest bi-weekly. And it is probably the best funding digest that I've seen in the local area. So I use that. Sometimes you can be filling in reams and reams of application forms and going to get lots of information for a small amount of funding. And some people say I don't want to apply for the small amounts of funding, but that does keep you going. I would have, what I keep is I've got a bank now on the computer of my clear aims and objectives, data, so I use Sandwell Trends where I get all the data from related to Sandwell and become a bit of a geek. You know, I can tell you that we've got 26% year sixes that are at least 90% on free school meals, etc., etc. And that data is there for you to use, and Sandwell have set that up, and that's really cool. There isn't any other local authority I know that have set that up for people, and they've got a funding section. If you want to access funding, then speak to Sandwell Council for Voluntary Organisations, and they're based in West Bromwich. Anybody else got any questions? Yes, Linda.
Hi Joe.
Hi.
This is Devinda from Sweden, manager of Sweden. Joe, thanks for doing the presentation today. Just wanted to ask you something. If you were to start your business today, what is it that you wouldn't do? I mean, it's very interesting, you know, it's very easy to be wise in hindsight, and that's life, isn't it, in general?
Yeah,
but if there were some tips that you could give to members of the audience, the clients who are thinking of starting up a business, what sort of, you know,
what I wouldn't do,
tips you wouldn't do?
When you are the sole trader and you're self-employed and you're getting the money coming in and you haven't got overheads, it was very easy for me to think, oh, I've got loads of money coming in. So in the first year and a half, I probably spent very unwisely and took more money out of the business than I perhaps should have done. So I wouldn't do that. When employing people or subcontracting people, I would be very careful about the procedures of doing that and the people that you're choosing. Don't put your trust in people. People say there are no friends in business, and it's very true. I have got friends, but we keep it separate. Because I've recently found out that somebody who worked for me has set up their own business, coaching sport, going around in Sandwell schools. But that individual has not only copied my strapline, he's copied all the activities that we deliver, and they've copied my website word for word. So it's about being wise as to what's going on out there and dealing with it. And keeping your friends and business separate. What else do I do differently? I could go on forever about what I do differently, but I believe that you learn from your mistakes, and it makes you grow, it makes you develop as a person, and it makes you develop as a business person. Because if you'd have asked me 5 years ago how to do a cash flow forecast, I'd have looked at you like you were stupid. You know, I'm PE teacher, maths and English and stuff like that for me never really mattered. Talking to people, you've got to talk to people. My family know that I'm one of these people that keeps everything in my head. And if I'm worried, I don't go and talk to anybody, but I'm having to be sort of sat around the head and told I've got to talk to them, because it is worrying. You know, if people come and work for you, you are responsible for them. You've got to pay their wages at the end of the month. You've got to find them work. You've got to supply them with that. But don't be scared, because there's loads of support out there. And don't be scared to ask questions. And if your idea is not very good, then go back to the drawing board and try it again. Or even look for partnerships. If there's somebody else out there that's got a very similar idea, instead of working against each other, work in partnership. Because I'd rather have a little bit of income coming in than not have a company at all, or not have business. And all my family have got to say to me is, if I say, oh, I'm not very happy with the business, I think I'm going to pack it in if I've had a bad day, they've only got to say to me, do you want to go back into teaching? And they say that, and the answer, well, I'm not going to repeat what the answer is. And they throw that one at me, and I probably wouldn't even think about going back into teaching now because I think I've got other skill sets and I could probably go into another different, different type of job. I was told the other day that I could probably write funding bids for people, but they've only got to throw that back to me. And yeah, okay, I'm probably preaching to the converted, but it is about that work-life balance. But for me, I enjoy doing it, and sometimes I don't feel like I'm working. And if you enjoy it, then it makes it 10 times easier to get out of bed in the morning. And then my last slide is a famous quote from Bill Cosby. You've got to have desire for success, and I've got desire. I had desire for success to be a teacher. If you'd have asked me at 13, I wanted to be a PE teacher, I wanted to be assistant head of department, I wanted to be a head of department, then I wanted to be a form tutor, and I perhaps wanted to go on to be a deputy head teacher. And that was it, I was blinkered. And then when something happens in life and that changes and you don't know what you're going to do, the whole skill set changes and you've got to be determined to succeed. And you've got to be able to fear failure. And I probably fear failure more than I actually try to get success. But I know that if I fear that failure and I go for that failure, then I'm going to be more determined. So I hope that I haven't put anybody off, because it is a really exciting time if you do want to take on being a business owner, if you do want to be self-employed, and there's a lot of support out there. And don't be scared. And don't be scared to use the support networks that you've got, Business Link, Sweda, A2B. And there's a lot of people out there. And I'd just like to say thank you to Delinda for inviting me here today.